Picture first. Take a good picture.
还有人吗？
Alright, so I will. I'll just say something.
So, Chris, have you come out against congestion pricing?
I think buses should be accepted on Elvis.
What about people who live in rural areas?
Okay, everybody stand back. Take a group picture. Stand back, please. Stand back, please. Stand back. Let them take a Grace.
What's happening? I know.
Told me yesterday. I saw her yesterday.
Yes, take a good picture first. Questions last. Question at the end, please. Stand back. Take a picture. Look at here. Here.
I apologize, Jasper? Yeah.
冇俾人打啦！聽日見睇嚟。即係你有冇？哦，你見到想就照出嚟接過下財啦。需要真係需要。希望可以話要少啲溝通。
sorry. I'll go from one. Yes. Okay.
Just wanted to make sure. Nice to see you again. Thank you for coming. Just making sure everyone is around. Thank you for coming. Yeah, I'm used to Okay. Thank you very much.
DJ, can you share it? Sorry, Brian Kavanaugh?
Yeah, he's coming. I gotta call him.
Okay, we're not going to wait. Okay, I just want to make sure. Do we have all the reporters here? Okay, we're going to get started. Okay, thank you everyone for being here today. My name is Assemblymember Grace Lee, and I'm the proud state representative for this Lower Manhattan District and for Chinatown. And we're here today to call for exemptions for licensed commuter vans in New York City from congestion pricing. Thousands of Asian American New Yorkers rely on commuter vans to travel between boroughs. It's a safe, culturally competent, language accessible, mass transit option for so many of our Asian American New Yorkers. And we need to make sure that they are not bearing the brunt of congestion pricing by increasing taxes on these vehicles and making it more expensive for our Asian New Yorkers to be able to travel between boroughs. So I'm very proud to be here with a number of elected representatives and the community who supports this exemption. And I'm going to now introduce our next speaker, Senator John Liu.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Assemblymember Lee. I'm very happy to see everybody here today. This is a very important message that we have. We want commuter vans to be recognized for what they have been for decades here in New York City. Commuter vans serve many predominantly immigrant communities. In the Chinese American community specifically, commuter vans are a very important transportation link between Chinatown and Flushing, Chinatown and Elmhurst, Chinatown and Sunset Park, and potentially other new destinations in the coming years. And the commuter vans were able to become so important and such a vital transportation link because the mass transit system does not serve our communities well. So we have to preserve them, the commuter vans, as an important option. The MTA, on the other hand, they are about to start congestion pricing. I'm not here to talk about congestion pricing itself. That was passed into law 4 years ago. It was delayed by COVID and the federal government, but it is going to happen in 2024. What I am here is to join the community and my colleagues in saying that commuter vans should not be subject to the congestion fee. Commuter vans should not be subject to the congestion fee. The congestion fee is not just about making money for the MTA. Congestion fee is also a way to discourage people from driving their own vehicles into Manhattan, adding to the congestion, but instead taking mass transit. Well, mass transit is the buses and subways, but for our communities, it is also the commuter vans. We want to encourage people not to drive their own cars, but to take the commuter vans. Take the commuter vans to Chinatown for work, for shopping, for events, for anything. Don't drive your cars, take the commuter vans. But if the MTA puts the congestion fee on commuter vans, that is going to discourage people from taking the mass transit that commuter vans are. And we don't want that. The MTA should not be discouraging anybody from taking any form of mass transit, which commuter vans clearly are. So let's say no to congestion fees for commuter vans. It is important for the livelihood of our communities. It's important for people to get to their jobs, to get to whatever they need to get to. It's an important link for the Asian American community right here in New York City. Thank you very much, Assemblymember Lee, for bringing us together.
And I wanted to just give a special shout out to Senator Liu, who has been a champion for the licensed commuter vans for decades now, actually. I saw some articles early 2000s, since when he's had a full head of hair. And so, and this is a really, as you said, a really important for our communities. It is a safer alternative for our communities at a time when Asian Americans feel very unsafe on the subways. You know, just a few weeks ago, a Chinese immigrant was pushed into the subway tracks right here, just north of here on Chambers Street. So the commuter vans are not just a form of transportation, they are a lifeline for our communities to be able to connect within New York City. And so to speak more on that, my colleague, Senator Yuen Chu from Brooklyn, who also represents a district where commuter vans are very important to her community.
Yeah, Yuen.
Thank you, Assemblymember Grace Lee, for organizing this. I'm Senator Yuen Chu, represent Brooklyn Chinatown, Southside Park, Dyker Heights, Bensonhurst, Bath Beach, where so many thousands of Asian American immigrant families who live there. But they work here, they might work in Manhattan, they might go to Flushing for food, for culture, for families. Remember, those commuter vans connect the hub between Manhattan Chinatown, Brooklyn Chinatown, and also Queens Flushing and Bayside, Amherst. So these are the major hubs, like for many AAPI and Asian American families to connect and share their livelihood together. And also I really want to emphasize one thing. When our subway is not yet to be safe for our families to feel comfortable to take the subway to go to work, to continue their life, commuter van is a solution for them. When our Manhattan congestion situation is not being addressed, commuter van, it's a solution for them because they encourage people to share the car. It's only one commuter van instead of 10 cars coming to this Manhattan area. This is a mass transportation option for families who can actually access culture, language-wise. I remember a couple of years ago when I took the subway, go to Queens, around Astoria area, there's an Asian American, there's a Chinese like immigrant mom who looked just panicking on the subway car. And I look at her because I can tell she's panicking in some way. She was like, she's lost. So she came to me and said, do you speak Chinese? I said, yes, I do. Are you lost? And she was like, yes. She came from Brooklyn, supposed to get off the train at Chinatown. She ended up in Queens and doesn't know how to get back. So I literally I got off the subway, I took her to the other side of the track, and I told her where to get off. I wrote it down for her. Look at those numbers, take the entry, how to get off. I need to explain to her. She needs to keep an eye because she doesn't read English. This is the reality for many of our immigrant families are facing, and also our seniors. How we can make sure they are safe to go to where they need to be. Commuter van is a solution. So I really want to emphasize and also encourage and urge the review board. Please take those commuter vans, exempt them out of those congestion pricing. It's not fair when our immigrant family, they're taking mass transportation, but they need to cover this toll when they are not the reason cause this congestion. So thank you for having me here. Thank you.
Assemblymember Lee would like me to introduce Senator Kavanaugh.
They were fighting over the privilege back there, I get to know. It is great to be here. You know, congestion pricing is coming to this community and to much of Manhattan. We know it's going to affect people all over the metropolitan area, and we know that there are many exceptions, adjustments that people are fighting for, and we're having conversations about a lot of those. But we're gathering today to really emphasize the critical nature of what we're calling for today. You know, our transit system has to do a very big job of moving people all over the metropolitan area, but it's not just the formal bus lines and train lines that the MTA runs. There are many informal systems of transit, including these licensed commuter vans. And I emphasize, these are vans that are provided a license by the government to move people and provide and to allow people to commute with them. Chinatown, you know, is a very long-standing, very vibrant community, but we know that Chinese Americans and other Asian Americans have formed very large communities, particularly in Brooklyn and Queens, and we know that the interconnectedness of those communities is critical. We want to make sure that we're not sapping the vibrancy of this community, we're not unreasonably imposing costs on people that can't afford it. And again, as several of my colleagues have emphasized, the whole point of congestion pricing is to support mass transit and get people to do that. This is mass transit. Let's make sure that this, among the many proposals that are being given to the Mobility Review Board, that this one is adopted properly. Thank you.
Hey, congestion pricing, stop the wars. Stop the wars. Assemblymember Lee would like me to introduce Assemblymember Ron Kim.
Thank you all. I join my colleagues. I echo their sentiments about commuter vans. This is an issue that I worked on many years ago when I was a transportation analyst under John New's leadership in the City Council. Perhaps one of the best transportation council chairs in the city of New York. So we're very familiar on why it's important to support commuter vans. Everyone has already outlined it. And during this time of post-COVID, instead of supporting and growing commuter vans, we're going the opposite direction. So that's why we're here. We don't want to punish commuter vans. We want to make sure that they're fully supported. I thank leadership of my colleague, Grace Lee, Councilmember Chris Marte, Brian Kavanaugh, and Ewan Chu, and of course John New, and please fully support this exemption for commuter vans. Thank you.
Grace would like me to introduce Councilmember Chris Marte.
It's good to be here with my colleagues. This is all about efficiency. When we stand on train line on Main Street, on Grand Street, or in Sunset Park, sometimes it tells you the train is going to be there in 20 minutes. Commuter vans are always here. They're always providing safety, efficient travel for everyone of all ages. I even see kids in the morning on their way to school coming out of a commuter van. So this is for everyone. And so this exemption is about preserving our community, our livelihood, but making transportation much more efficient than it currently is. Many people always tell us during this year-long or multi-year-long debate, what is the MTA proving instead? And this is an option that they can use to say this is what we need to continue to do and increase to make sure that we can reach a lot of transportation deserts that there are in New York City. And so thank you, Grace Lee, for leading the charge. She's also head of the API task force in Albany, and so we're happy to support her and support this group.
We also have some comments from community members, business owners, business leaders in our community who know the importance of commuter vans to the ecosystem of Chinatown. And right now we have Dr. Thomas Chan.
I think I speak pretty loud. I don't need a mic. Anyway, I'm Dr. Thomas Chan. You know, I have practiced community medicine in Chinatown for 30 years. I'm here today to speak for our coalition, Chinatown and Little Italy coalition. And we know it's very nice and it's good to have more clean air, less traffic congestion. But the $23 congestion pricing fee It's a lot of money.
Yes.
And it could be detrimental to our community and Chinatown and New Italy. I'm very deeply grateful to see so many elected officials come out to fight for us, at least get an extension on the commuter rent to help our Chinatown. So I'm here today. I know we are focused on commuter rent today, but I just want to run down the list of problems we might face, we will face with congestion pricing in our community. And then hopefully, all our elected officials here could help us to solve the problem. Hopefully, I know they really try hard, but you know, the congestion pricing is already passed by the New York State, by the federal. So we will try our best to get our exemption, to get our fee reduction for our community. Let me first run down the problem we are facing. Okay, let's say this way. First problem, our local economy. Remember, after September 11 and pandemic, our local economy is much worse, and we have not recovered yet. Just look at East Broadway, we still have 25% vacancy, and average New York City is only around 13%. And in addition, for the last 30 years, we have had no new affordable housing, and there's a big housing shortage in Chinatown area. So many families, young people have moved out of Chinatown to outer Falls. Currently, we have many elderly and new immigrants left behind in Chinatown, and they have less purchasing power. And so Chinatown and Little Italy are heavily dependent on outside consumer from outer Falls. With the $23 fee, I am afraid many of them will not come to eat and shop in Chinatown and Little Italy. And our restaurant and store, we have problems, and many might close down. Hopefully the commuter rent will help some of the, bring in some consumer for us. And second, I would like to emphasize the problem is our elderly. Remember, many elderly left behind in Chinatown are confined in old shaky buildings without elevators. So the children need to come back to take care of them and bring them essential household goods and take them to see doctors with their cars. And the elderly who have already moved out of Chinatown still come back to Chinatown to see the doctors and socialize with their friends. But they're just too old, too frail, or too weak to take public transportation. They would need their children to drive them to Chinatown. With $23 congestion fee, their children could not afford to drive them to Chinatown regularly to take care of the elderly and to take them to see doctors to get their necessary medical care. Hopefully, the commuter van, with the extended commuter van, will help offset some of the problems we're talking about. And the last, one more thing I would say is our patients. About half of the patients of many medical offices in this area, in our Chinatown area, are come from outer Falls. Many patients return to Chinatown area to get the medical care because they trust their long-time doctors. And there's no language barrier in Chinatown. And when our patients are ill, using public transportation to go to see the doctors can be challenging. However, with a $23 congestion fee, they may not be able to they will afford to drive to Chinatown to see the doctor for the illness. Just for instance, many of my asthma patients will likely not come back to see me if they have an asthma attack because the prohibited $23. So what happened to them? They might just end up in the emergency room and hospital. And last thing, I would talk about our workers. For example, many workers, restaurant workers work in Chinatown and Little Italy, come from outer Falls. And they often work until late at night. Because of safety concerns, they are afraid to take the subway home and would prefer to drive or carpool. However, with the $23 congestion fee, many cannot afford to come to Chinatown for work. And our Chinatown, Little Italy area are already facing severe worker shortage. With the congestion pricing, we will lose even more workers.
Hear, hear.
And ultimately, we may not have enough staff to operate our business. In addition, why would our local residents just happen to live in Chinatown and Little Italy areas? They had to pay $23 congestion fee just to leave Manhattan to work or to visit relatives and France, maybe in New Jersey, for example, they didn't cause the congestion problem. But they had to drive to see the friend out here, everywhere in the country, wherever. But they are penalized to pay $23.
Here.
And anyway, so really there's an extra burden they finance what they cannot afford. Anyway, be honest, to my opinion, the congestion pricing will have a devastating effect on Chinatown and Little Italy. But anyway, we are deeply grateful.
Brother, with all due respect.
Okay, I'm sorry, we're having a
with all
press
due
conference.
respect,
No, this
we
is
have to
actually
unite.
not being respectful
We
right
have
now.
to
Back
unite.
off.
We have to unite. Don't touch me. We have to unite. We have to be against congestion pricing. All of it, brother. All of it. All of it. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. We have to be against congestion pricing completely. You're not showing unity. All the boroughs, all the businesses.
You're interrupting right now.
Because you're not listening.
By the way, by the way, we are deeply grateful for our elected officials.
All businesses, okay? I'm a taxi driver. We support the commuter vans. We support the commuter vans. But we say no to congestion pricing. No to congestion pricing, brother. You're not listening. I'm not yelling. I'm talking to you. I'm not yelling. We say no to congestion pricing. Today, tomorrow, forever. No congestion pricing. Zero. You got to show unity. We got to protect all businesses. All the businesses, brother. All the businesses.
So commuter vans are the political court.
You're not moving. We're not moving. Do your thing, brother. Do your thing. We're against congestion pricing. I'm a taxi advocate. I'm a driver in the city. We say no to congestion pricing. They have to say no to congestion pricing in its entirety. All of it. We got to get rid of all of it. If you're an elected official, you gotta stand up.
Thank you for coming today.
Don't be a bootlicker. You gotta stand up and say no to congestion pricing. I'm a taxi driver. We support the commuter vans. We support the commuter vans. You're making it work. You're bending backwards. You don't have a voice. We will be the voice that you can't be.
No congestion pricing.
That's right. No congestion pricing. We support the community. We don't want you to go on congestion pricing. We support all the communities in all the boroughs, all the districts. That's the way it has to be done. We love our Asian community. My name is Raul. You have your opinion. My name is Raul Rivera Figueroa. I was born in this city. 53 years. Congestion pricing is going to hurt everybody. Everybody's going to hurt everybody, brother. It's going to hurt everybody, but you're not listening. You're not listening, brother. We're not. I understand. We got to fight. And listen. Even if they pass it, at least we did our part. And we said no. You know Leroy Morrison, right? You know Leroy Morrison? We support him. We support the community van. We're not against it. I know, but they'll give you an exemption for a year, maybe 2 years, and that's it. You're done. That's it.
I agree. To get rid of 100%, you need to fight for it.
We got it. I'm a driver in the city. We gotta fight tooth and nail, because if not, this is part of their history. Transportation alternatives. We asked for an investigation in Transalt. We asked for an investigation into DOT. Donnie Rodriguez. Yes, we know. Yeah, Mark Gordon, open plans, all that. We know that. Riders Alliance, Wrestler, and all these council members. They're writing their history. In the council, when they reminisce and look back, they're gonna know that they failed. If this passes, they failed to move over. I'm in the Bronx. But I'm a taxi driver. I'm everywhere. I'm in Chinatown. I'm in Jackson Heights. I'm in Brooklyn, Jersey. I'm a TLC. We all have the same license. I could do Uber, yellow, green. Brother, we have
to keep fighting
we have to
all,
say no.
all the way.
No congestion. Zero.
Our position is no congestion pricing. But they say commuter van exemption, we agree.
Yes, I support you, yeah, but what's better than that? And if you can eliminate it completely.
You're at a very
I've been coming to Chinatown for 35 years. 35. I go to the bakery that's on 7th Street. I go for 35 years.
I'll see you later.